I am Nikki Haben. I'm the Partnerships Director. Presenting with me today is Chris Ford, our President and CEO. And we also have Lisa Spittler on the line. Lisa, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Terrific. Okay, well, when the time comes, we'll have you be highlighted and introduce yourself. But let me just start, I guess, with how we have been starting all of our meetings. Again, here's our agenda. Is everybody, did the screen switch for everybody? Terrific. Okay, we're going to start with our hunger relief partner breakdown. I think this is very important to start this meeting showing everybody who is invited to this call. So we at Riverbend have over 400 hunger relief partners. And let me see, how do we get to the next? Oh, there we go. Okay, so our over 400 hunger relief partners, which could be a pantry site, a school site, a program that we house. You can see kind of the breakdown of all the partners that we support here at Riverbend. Over 400, it's 23 counties in both Illinois and Iowa. And so we have 18 in Illinois, 5 in Iowa. We think it's important, again, to talk about this because some of the information that we share on this call may be specific to a food pantry, but not necessarily for a senior program or a school site. So we want to share this information with everybody so you have the global view of how Riverbend operates, but there might be some topics that are more pertinent to you as a pantry, but we want to share this information with everybody. Today's agenda is going to concentrate on SNAP, which I have a feeling everybody has been hearing a lot about SNAP and has questions about how it relates to the program or the pantry that you operate. So just keep in mind that we do have information for both Illinois and Iowa that we share. And so SNAP is, it's just important for us to get this information out to you. But let me just put that on hold for a second. Our one agenda item that we're going to stick in here really quickly is Emily Rangel from the operations team who wants to give you a quick update before we jump into SNAP. She's sitting right here to my right, so I'm just going to slide my computer over.
Hi, everyone. So operations just wants to give a quick reminder that if you have any issues with an order, whether it's missing product, you got the wrong product, you have issues with a delivery or a pickup, or just general questions about your order or items on your order, make sure you're sending an email to orders@riverbendfoodbank.org. There's constantly 2 sets of eyes on that email mailbox, so it's going to be your best resource to get a quick answer and a reliable answer.
Sweet. Thank you. We're going to put that email address for you in the chat if somebody here in the room could do that, or multiple people. Orders@riverbendfoodbank.org. That again, thanks, Emily. That's the quickest way to get your answer for sure. Okay, so with that being said, any questions so far? Because we are going to hop into a pretty heavy topic here. So over the course of the last couple weeks, our communications team has been working on putting together some information to share with our partners because there's so much happening with SNAP in obviously just federally, which affects our states, both Illinois and Iowa. And so we have put out, the email would have come from me, 2 different times. We've sent you some information, some SNAP fact sheets and impact sheets that help educate you as a pantry director, but also give information out to your clients who might be affected by the changes that have happened with SNAP or are coming with SNAP. So we wanted to take the time on this call to pull up that information that we had sent you in those 2 different emails. And again, I will send it all out a 3rd time after this call. But we wanted to kind of look through that information and answer any questions that you might have regarding the information that we had put out. But before we start going through the information, I'm going to turn it over to Chris, who's going to talk globally about how this impacts you as a director as well as Riverbend. So take it away, Chris.
Thanks, Nick. Good morning, everyone. Good to see you all. Happy Friday to you, even though it's winter weather again. I think spring's around the corner, so hold the faith there. A couple of things I want to say. First of all, I want you to know from a very high strategic level what Riverbend Food Bank is doing in terms of advocating for SNAP. As an organization, we are part of state associations in both Iowa and Illinois because we serve both of those states. Those associations involve all the other Feeding America food banks that are operating in those states. Collectively together, we are working on a weekly basis to advocate for the states, and this is a critical time right now, to make sure they are budgeting funding and understand the impact that SNAP has in each of those states. The budget process is happening now. Governor Pritzker gave a speech, a budget speech in Illinois this week. Governor Reynolds gave one, I believe, a couple weeks before. We're headed to Des Moines on Monday to advocate with some of the folks up there. So that's what we are doing at an extremely high level to make sure they understand the importance that SNAP is to the Riverbend system and our hunger relief partners. With that being said, I want to make sure everyone on the call understands this. We, as an organization, do not administer SNAP. So we are learning just as much as you are and trying to share the most comprehensive, up-to-date information that is available. That changes quite frequently. So what I want to make sure you understand today is we're going to share here shortly some direct links to the state of Iowa, to the state of Illinois Department of Human Resource websites, and then also some national sites that you can go to. We would prefer that you go there, just like we are, to get the answers. There is so much detail in who is eligible, what recertification looks like, immigrant changes, work restriction changes. There's a lot of that. And if people are asking you questions, again, encourage them to get to one of these sites and ask for help. These are directly to IDHS in both Iowa and Illinois. They are the experts, and we would prefer that the people that you are serving get the correct answer the first time. And the best way we can ensure that is by getting them to the right place. Does anybody have any questions on that? Excellent. All right, Nikki, I'll let you take it from there.
All right, thanks, Chris. So this first slide that you're seeing that says SNAP facts, this is what you would have gotten emailed from me. Our marketing team just put it in a nice format and some digestible, sorry for the pun, digestible links, bullets for you. But we just wanted to make sure that if asked, that you were able to speak on behalf of Riverbend and what we do as a service and support to the pantries, so people can understand the impact that these SNAP changes are going to have. So again, these are just bullets that I don't want to read to you, but I think one that's important to pull out is, Riverbend, we provide 1,375,000 meals per month, where SNAP provides 12 million meals per month in our service area. So for every meal that Riverbend provides, SNAP provides about 9. So filling that gap, if SNAP is reduced or goes away, will be extremely difficult. I don't think that's not even strong enough to say extremely difficult. It would be near impossible to fill. So that's how important SNAP is to the people that are in our service area, as well as across the country. So again, there's some more stats on who SNAP recipients are, because we think there's some misconceptions out there about who is receiving this benefit. So again, this is just a one-page fact sheet that we thought would be handy for you to have copies of it at your desk. Keep it with you because people know you as a pantry director, and when you're out in the community. This is just some bullet points to help you speak to what is happening with SNAP and the impact that this law has on its clients. So questions on this piece? Comments on this piece? Okay. The next one pager that our fantastic marketing team had put out, it looks like this, what's changing with SNAP. Okay, it's front and back page. One thing I will tell you about this sheet is when I send out the paperwork from this meeting, this page, we actually did one small change to it, and that was taking off the dates of the work reporting requirements and the immigrant eligibility. We took those dates off because we're noticing that between Iowa and Illinois and even the federal level, there's differences and there's changes. And to remain to what Chris was saying earlier about transparent with all of the information, we took those dates off because we didn't want to confuse people because there are differences between the states and federally. So when I send out this packet after today's meeting, please use the updated changes to SNAP form that we have with no dates on it, just to take away that confusion. If people have specific questions on the dates, again, like Chris said, we're gonna have you send them directly to the state website for the most up-to-date information. Okay. So you'll see on this sheet, and again, I'm not gonna read it to you. You have this handout and you can read this for yourself, but this is just the basics of the work reporting requirements that have changed. There's always been requirements in place, but these are some of the changes that have taken place, as well as the immigrant eligibility. So this might be a good piece to give to your constituents, because the second page, the back page of this, actually has QR codes as well as phone numbers and links that will direct them to the Illinois, Iowa, or federal sites where they can get the most complete up-to-date information. Questions on that? Anything in the chat? Nope. Anybody have a hand up?
Can you go back one page?
Absolutely.
So one thing you as Hunger Relief Partners might be experiencing right now is you might have people coming in asking questions. You'll see there the age range is 18 to 64 now. It previously was 18 to 54. So there are people between 55 and 64 now who have been on SNAP who now have to go to work. They may not understand that. And what we're trying to do by getting them to these websites is not being surprised when their SNAP dollars change because they have not met the SNAP work requirements. So that is just one example of something someone may come in and ask you. When that happens, please, whether you're in the state of Illinois or in the state of Iowa, get them to the website, the phone number, the QR code, and get them to an expert that can help them get certified to be eligible for SNAP. That's all I wanted to say there.
Thank you. Okay. Again, back to this page. This is on the back side of your form. All that information is on this form. What we're going to do at this point, hopefully, IT is always tricky for me, but I'm going to take you to this QR code will actually lead you to, and we're going to see if this actually works or not. Nope, can't see it. Shoot. How do I make that happen? Katie, do you know?
Can you click on the Abe link? Is that the same link?
If I click on this, but I just not showing to people, how do I show that? I go back
If
to
you go
this?
back to Teams.
Yep, to Teams.
Yep.
Yep.
And then
Share.
and do screen. Hit the screen button and see what you get. If there's an additional pop-up. Perfect. Now try going to the link.
Yeah, there we go.
Yay. That was Katie, everybody. Okay, so if you click on that link, or that if you go to that QR code, this is where it's going to pull you. This is Illinois information. So this is where we want to direct clients to this site. This is where they're going to find information if they meet the work requirements or to get additional support. Okay. If you go to this site and also click on this SNAP Federal Impact Center, we'll see if this works. Yay. It's going to take you to the IDHS site, the Illinois Department of Human Services site, where you're going to find all of the up-to-date current information for Illinois. Okay. The work requirements, again, additional links on FAQs, exemptions, important dates. It'll take you back to this ABE where you can apply for the benefits. So this is why we want to direct clients to this site. This is where they're going to find the best information and the best help, the best resources. Questions on that Illinois link? No. Okay. So I'm going to attempt to go back, Katie. Here. Yay. But now I need to get back to the PowerPoint. Yay. That work?
There we go.
Okay. So that was Illinois. The QR code, and there was the link. Again, there, whoopsie. Sorry, there was the number. We have the same thing for Iowa, and we have the links for the USDA site. Okay. Questions, thoughts, comments?
The purpose here would be, we want to take the burden off of you of having to be the expert, but we also want to give you the opportunity to be able to answer the question as guests come to your location, where can they go to get the best advice? So this provides you the information to get them to the right place, but does not have to make you the expert on answering their questions.
Well said. So with that being said, I'm going to turn it over to Lisa Spittler for her to introduce herself and go through some specific information for the Iowa side. And again, there's a lot of similarities between Illinois and Iowa, but we are very fortunate to have an Iowa representative that helps Riverbend with some of this, with all things related to SNAP. So I'm going to turn it over to her so she can give the feedback, the information, the guidance that she has from being a SNAP expert for Riverbend.
She
Okay.
indicated she's being muted by you.
Well, definitely don't want that. Let me see.
Okay.
Okay, you're good, Lisa?
Yeah, can you hear me? All right, we just need the slideshow back. PowerPoint. All right. Everybody, my name is Lisa Spittler, and I am the SNAP Outreach Manager for Eastern Iowa. I am shared by Riverbend, HACAP, and Northeast Iowa Food Banks. So I work in 28 counties in the state of Iowa. The toolkit that I'm going to kind of run through was something that we developed through the Iowa Food Bank Association to be able to help those who were pantry directors or site directors be able to answer some general questions, not to set you up to be the person who does applications, but just so that you have a good understanding of the process for applying for SNAP, and as also some of the changes. And so we update this each year. So December is when it got its most recent update. Nikki, there we go. The yellow on the state, that's our section of the state for those 3 food banks and the counties that are served. The state, we kind of do outreach in a few different ways, and it's again kind of by food bank areas. So all of the counties in the yellow are the areas that I'm working in and available. And if you look up in the upper right corner is my email address. You're very welcome to use that. I usually go by Lisa and not List, but that's but yeah, so just so you have a sense. And I'm going to apologize to those from Illinois. So some of the information here is going to be consistent, but there can be changes because, as we've kind of mentioned, each state can administer SNAP in their kind of own ways. So let's go ahead and go to the next. Okay, we've seen kind of an overview, and here again, I'm gonna kind of like Nikki said, I'm gonna promise not to read everything to you because you can read it, but just to give you some specifics in Iowa who's served by SNAP, and when we talk about SNAP, it is something that you have to be eligible for. One of the things people, when I talk to households and see if they're getting SNAP, it's like, oh, I don't want to apply for that. I don't want to take that away from anyone, and to help people understand. Applying for it and receiving the benefits is not taking benefits away from anyone because you can only receive them if you're eligible. And the eligibility starts by looking at what the income guidelines are for the number of based on the number of people in the household. It is a program that is targeted for citizens or qualified citizens. And kind of saw some of that, and children who are born in the United States who are then our citizens, but maybe their parents might not be citizens. Those children could possibly be eligible. Go ahead. When we're looking at income, again, it's based by number of people in the household, and then we kind of look at the gross monthly income. So if we look at that for a household of 1 and looking at a gross income of potentially $2,088, the phrase that I use is if your income for a household of 1 is at or below this income level, then you might be eligible. It is not, however, a guarantee. And so we have to be careful about that. People can be below this income levels that you see here and still not be eligible. But being at or below those incomes, the best phrase that I learned from it is it sort of gets you through the first door, and it makes sense then to go ahead and at least apply and see. And people can reapply. I've often had people tell me, oh, well, I was denied. And I'll ask, well, when did you last apply? And it's like, oh, it was 2-3 years ago. A lot of things can change in that time. Number one, the monthly income levels change every year. Number two, maybe who's in your household, number of people may have changed, what you're paying for rent. There's a lot of factors that go into actually establishing if somebody's eligible. And in Iowa, that is strictly set by Department of Health and Human Services. They decide. So we help people apply, but we get it into HHS, and they're the ones that determine if someone is eligible or not. If they are eligible, they're going to receive what's called an EBT, or an electronic benefit transfer card. And then in the state of Iowa, between the 1st and the 10th of each month, and depending alphabetically what the household's last name is, that's when you receive those benefits. They're automatically loaded onto the card. The card looks and works like a debit card and can be used at any SNAP certified store to buy food with. So the amount that a household will get will depend on a lot of those situations for each household. And again, that's all determined by Health and Human Services. So go ahead. There are 3 ways really to apply for SNAP benefits. The first is to call or write to your State Department of Health and Human Services, and they will mail out a physical paper application. These are often kind of bulky and sometimes confusing and take a while. This is the slowest way to apply because then you have to mail it back in. So HHS doesn't start processing until they receive that completed application. Another way that that works well for some individuals and not so well for some is to simply go online yourself and do an application, and you see the link right there to do that. Some people do great with that. Some people struggle because they've maybe something locked them out or had trouble getting back into their account. Honestly, the easiest way to apply in Iowa is to call the SNAP hotline number that's listed there at that bullet point. This is staffed with folks who are dedicated to doing the application. People can also call me and I will do the application with them. But yeah, the phone is the easiest, and we have the arrangement with the hotline. The hotline is staffed by food bank staff, and the arrangement is that we will help people do the application and we get it in immediately to HHS. So by the time we hang up with a household, we've got their application in and we know that it's in. So I personally think it's the easiest and the fastest way to apply. Once you submit your application, HHS will process it, and in Iowa, they're first going to process to see if you meet their emergency standards, and if you do, that's going to expedite the application process. But basically, once they process your application, they're going to set up a follow-up phone interview with the household. And during that interview, that's when they're going to probably ask for some additional information. Some examples are listed there. And then the process usually takes up to 30 days for the most part. Between they get the application, they process it, they get the paperwork that they need and send out the card. Most people have gotten that within 30 days. So go ahead. Now here's again some of the changes that have happened, and this is very Iowa specific as to what you can purchase with SNAP benefits. You can basically purchase most food in a grocery store. That's remained the same. The change that happened effective January 1st of this year in Iowa is that items that they can charge state sales tax. So for instance, soda, chips, candy, things like that, those items are no longer able to be purchased with SNAP dollars. Doesn't mean that folks can't buy them with their other money, but they can't use their SNAP dollars for them. One exception is you can still buy seeds to grow vegetable or food. So that can still be purchased. SNAP is not intended to be a permanent program for every household. They do have to go through a review process. Most people, it's every 6 months. Some folks, especially seniors and those with some disabilities, it might be once a year that they have to go through a review. The review is pretty similar to the application process. And again, at the hotline, we can just do an application and that will help move their review through. And if you get denied benefits, there is an appeal process. And that does happen sometimes, and it's important to know that, that you can appeal and have your case reviewed. So one of the nice things about this resource is it has some couple phone numbers that are great for you to have access to help your guests and neighbors as they're coming in. The first number that's listed there is the HHS customer service line in Iowa, that 347-5678. This is the best number whenever there's been a change in their household. Maybe they've had a change of income up or down. Maybe they've moved and have different rent or different housing things, anything, or people have come in and, maybe they have more people in the household or less people in the household. That's the number to call to update that. The other number that's great to have a hand available or able to give out is the lost or stolen EBT card. So there's a specific number there that's listed that those folks can call and kind of get the process of getting a new card or a new number. So go ahead. Here's some listings again to go to, and as Nikki and Chris have emphasized, this is specifically for Illinois to go get resources and specific information on what's changed there. Again, state to state can be different. So, okay. Nikki, I'm going to turn back over to you here. Or
Yes.
basically ask if there's questions.
Yeah, we'll go back to those Illinois QR codes, but let's go back to see if there's any questions that Lisa can answer about Iowa specifically, or maybe even just a general SNAP question. Lisa, you must have done such a fantastic job.
Or
Anything
they're
in
all
the chat?
asleep.
So the information that Lisa just presented is one of the, so the PowerPoint, you're going to get the slide deck. So all of that information you will have, but also it's the Iowa SNAP toolkit. That was also an attachment that we've already sent out a couple times to everybody. But again, when I follow up after this call, it'll be sent out again along with the slides. So all of that information, again, we think would be a good, especially for Iowa, to have printed copy to be able to support some of the frequently asked questions. But then again, you know, for specific, there's plenty of resources, phone calls, or phone numbers, websites to direct them to get the help that they need. Lisa, that was a really good overview, again, specifically for Iowa, but I think it gave a good glimpse of just the process in general for both states. So thank you.
Thanks. I will say, again, this is for Iowa sites. If you ever would like me to come to your pantry or to your organization, I'm happy to do that. That's what I do throughout those 28 counties. So I try to get to as many as I can. Just feel free to send me an email and we'll go from there.
And Joseph asked or said, I have known families to miss the follow-up phone call from HHS and not have a working phone. What is the alternative?
Borrowing, and also I would say first trying to call the customer service line, but I also recommend having them call their county office line. And if you do that, especially there's a little overlap period, forgiveness period. But a lot of times if you call them directly and say you're trying to check on the status of your application, you're concerned that you may have missed that follow-up phone interview, can they help you set a time? Especially sometimes in the county offices, a lot of times they're willing to do that.
Nicole? I think this might be the only microphone on. Yes, please. Nicole's heading this way. And again, she is the one with her team that put together all of these great resources that we're sharing out. So.
Thank you. I just had a question for Lisa and then any of the partners, if that is the right time to do that. Lisa, can you tell us what you're hearing from people? Lisa partnered with us in the fall. We did a SNAP spotlight. We held it with media partners and a SNAP recipient, and we were able to kind of give a little bit of the temperature at that time. It would be helpful to me and probably others in this room to hear what kind of feedback you're hearing from recipients, because so much I feel like on my end is trying to pull resources together or think about what kind of things we want to prioritize. But if we don't have that feedback, then I feel like we're just kind of imagining what needs to be heard versus if we could hear directly from you.
Yeah, unfortunately, some of the feedback that I'm hearing is just confusion as to what's going on. Sometimes to the extreme of saying, I thought the program was going away or over, down to a little frustration with now not being able to purchase gum or chips or things like that with SNAP dollars. That change has been getting communicated, and I see a lot of stores put up signs as well now to also communicate that change, so that things that if you pay state sales tax that you can't use your SNAP dollars for.
In Iowa, correct?
In Iowa, yes, that's a very Iowa specific. And again, that started effectively January 1st. I have not heard a lot of feedback yet about the work requirements, and I'm a little surprised about that. There is some, and then, trying to work through, well, what does that mean? Or how does that work if it's a volunteer versus a paid employment? How to document that and work that out. So, those have been the biggest changes that we've had.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Yep.
Anything else in the chat? Anybody else want to come off of mute? Feel free. Anybody else want to share what they are hearing?
Hey, Nikki, I have a question.
Sure. Hi, Jan.
Hi, I got called away, so I'm not sure, maybe you already answered it, but do you have these in the Spanish form?
Oh, great question. We're currently
Thank you.
working on getting some translated materials, and Nicole, I'm not sure if you want to speak to which forms are in process.
Yeah.
This,
That we're pretty close on, and then we certainly could work on the other one as well, but the snap change is one. I think it's more,
so Nicole said the SNAP, the what's changing with SNAP document, the one that is mainly directed towards clients and getting them the support, that is the one that we're working on to get in a Spanish version.
Great, that's the one that we passed out.
Great. I'm glad you brought that up, Jan. I forgot about that. Jan actually sits on our advisory committee. Thank you, Jan. And that was one of the things that they had brought up was more forms translated into Spanish. So thanks for remembering that.
And Jan, just as a note with that, all the SNAP flyers, the handout flyers that I give to Riverbend and they give to the pantries, those are all one side English, one side Spanish. And our hotline has a specific Spanish line. When they call in, they can follow the prompts for the Spanish speaking line.
Thanks, Lisa. Okay. I'm going to attempt to go back to the slides. All right. Do you see this is where Lisa had finished off her Iowa part. And then we have two slides that just wanted to show you what was out there with QR codes that'll take you to the Greater Chicago Food Depository, the food bank out in the Chicago area, some of the resources that they had put together for pantries to direct people and educate people about SNAP. So I'm not going to go into them because they're QR codes, but just know that those are also on the forms that we had previously sent out and will send out after this call specifically for the Illinois side of the river. Okay, so that is the end of the information and the presentation. I am going to just go back to my blank screen so I can see all of your faces. Just to open it up one last time for any questions, comments, concerns. Is there anything more that Riverbend can do to support you? Again, going back to we're the experts on getting the food into your hand and supporting you as a pantry. SNAP is a whole new ball game for everybody involved. We're doing the best we can, and we know you are doing the best you can. Our guidance, our encouragement is to send people directly to the state sites because that's where they're going to find that most up-to-date, accurate information. But I think, the more educated we can speak about what's going on, from what we hear from Lisa, that there's people that are confused about how to be recertified or that the program's even continuing. The more we can speak to that and direct them, the better off everybody will be. Last chance for comments, questions, anything in the chat?
Not yet.
Okay, I will regroup this information. We'll get it sent out to you. Again, if you could use the what's changing with SNAP document that does not have the dates on it, that would be very helpful. The last thing we want to do is confuse people to where we cause issues with them getting the benefits. So that's where we want to be very careful. Oh, we do see another question. Kathleen. Are you able to get off of mute on your own?
Yeah,
There we
I
go.
think so. Yeah.
Cool.
I don't have a question, but I wanted to tell you how helpful this information was that you shared today. So thank you very much. It does fill
Awesome.
in a lot of questions, and I wanted you to know that.
Well, thank you. That was very nice of you to say. Lisa, thank you so much for offering your expertise. And not only in this call, but we all know you here at Riverbend about what a great resource you are for people and how you truly mean that you will take people's phone calls, emails, questions, because this is something very near and dear to your heart. So definitely take Lisa up on her offer to either visit your pantry or do some sort of a presentation, but utilize her wealth of knowledge with this subject.
Thanks, Nikki.
Okay, well, with that being said, I'll send this all out with the link for the March meeting. And in the meantime, if you have thoughts or ideas on what would make a good topic for agenda items, please shoot those to me or Jared or Danielle, anybody on our partnerships team, or anybody that you have contact with here at Riverbend. I'm going to reiterate what Emily started this conversation with. The best way to get your answers or questions with orders or deliveries is to email orders@riverbendfoodbank.org. It always helps to copy Jared, Danielle, or myself on it, just because we want to make sure that you get a timely response. So utilize that website, but also copy us on it. And one way or another, we will get you the help you need. Jared, anything you want to add? Good?
Yeah, I'm good. Thanks, everybody, for joining the call. Very important. And we're thankful you guys are taking the time out of your busy schedules to join us.
Well said. And with that, we will sign off. Enjoy your weekend, everybody. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you.